We stick close together and keep a cautious eye on our surroundings. Liana periodically checks her manipulator. Looking for something?
I'm following Amy's energy signature to make sure we're both going in the same direction. So far, we're still on the right path, and should be converging with them soon enough.
That's good. I put my hands behind my head. Hey, I forgot to thank you earlier for saving me. Thanks. Liana smiles.
You did the same for me.
Huh?
Raven Pass, remember? When we fought the treasurer.
Hey, so this is something that came back. That's good. You know, I talked about being a spectator, but no, we did that. It did come back. Oh, that. I guess so, but I only pushed you out of the way back then. In hindsight, I probably should have also dived out of the way too, instead of, you know, eating the blast full force.
Moving out of the way would have been a better idea, but it was heroic nonetheless.
Liana smirks.
Besides, you find yourself in trouble so often that saving you has kind of become second nature.
Gee, thanks. Wow, rude. Liana giggles. She seems to be in better spirits as we continue traveling. We turn a corner and find ourselves in a slightly open area. I notice a bit of movement from the corner of my eyes, but when I look over, all I see are the same mossy vines which are covering the entrance of the temple too. That's strange.
The energy reading here is higher than usual.
What's up? Liana goes to draw her sword.
It's not dormant like everywhere else. I'm scanning active energy here.
Oh! Before I can react, vines shoot up from the stone of the ruins and converge straight towards Liana. She gasps and attempts to swing at the incoming vines, but there are too many of them. As they entangle her limbs, she loses the grip on her sword and it clatters to the ground. Oh no, it's the hentai scene!
What is this?
I don't know what's happening. For some reason, the vines only target Liana and have kept a berth around me. Maybe the trap was only sensitive to energy manipulation? Thankfully, I wasn't casting. Liana struggles to break free in vain as the vines lift her off the ground.
Help me down!
I pull out my sword, but the vines twist and tangle around each other, which makes Liana a moving target too. The last thing I want to do is accidentally cut her as I'm trying to cut the vines. It might be best that I wait, right? Here's the hard thing. 'Cause I make a very good point where if she's like, I don't know how much it's moving her around, but if she's being like thrashed around, I don't want to cut Liana instead. That would be very bad. I mean, I feel like I should be able to go to like the base of the vines and deal with it there. But I feel like, hold on, let's see where this goes. Like, the way that it's phrased makes me think that that's a pervy option. So I'll help Freer. I dash forward and with skillful precision slice down the vines. As my sword cuts through the vines, they writhe and shrink away from Liana until she's able to wriggle free. Unfortunately, more vines emerge and head straight for me. I cut them as they approach, but there are too many of them, and I struggle to keep up. Just as the vines are about to encircle me, I spot the familiar glow of a blade carve trails of light through the vines. Liana is a blur as she methodically slices the vines with an accuracy and speed I strive to mimic. Before long, all of the vines lay in motionless pieces on the ground. Well then.
This never happened. Got it?
She glares at me despite her burning cheeks. Whatever happened? Nothing bad happened. We just helped each other again. Yes, ma'am.
Let's hurry up and get going then.
Liana doesn't wait for me as she continues down the path. I jog to catch up to her. Liana is extra cautious and keeps her blade at the ready as we continue down the path. Thankfully, without further incident, we spot the rest of the group waiting for us on a converging path.
You guys made it!
We did! The Pongo bounces over to me and leaps into my arms. Hey, buddy. Kara beams and waves us over. She blinks when she gets a better look at us.
Whoa, did something happen?
Liana's clears her throat as a subtle pink tinges her cheeks.
Nothing at all. Isn't that right?
She shoots me a warning glare. Right, nothing. Kara looks back and forth between us and then grins.
Oh, I get it. I mean, you two were alone after all.
And like, where else would we think she'd go with it? Liana's cheeks flare.
No, if not what you're thinking.
Kara winks.
Right. Nothing happened.
Liana mumbles something incoherent as she pushes past Kara.
What is with everyone's overly active imaginations today?
The group looks to me for answers. Yeah, nothing happened. Let's get going?
I concur. It would be advisable not to spend any more time than necessary.
See, let's listen to Amy, everyone.
All right, let's go.
That's right, let's go. Don't worry about it. The Pongo shrugs as he hops onto my head. With Liana leading the way, we continue moving forward. We continue down the path of the Earth Temple. Click the icons in the displayed order. Alright, this one, this one, this one, this one. Fire, fire, shadow, shadow. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Win! We finally make it to the core of the temple. The center of the temple is a lot different than the rest of the place. For one, it's not crumbling apart. Birds flitter across the sky and there is lush greenery all around. Sitting in the middle of the garden is a beautiful woman. But how well is she dressed? Oh, actually much better than the last one. You could actually call this a dress, yeah. Her dress is the same green as the plants, and there's something about her that feels warm, inviting, and alive. The sounds and voices of my friends fade away as I'm filled with the tranquility and beauty of nature surrounding me. She raises her hand, and at her touch, I feel a sense of calm and peace. Just like at the Fire Temple, I can feel the revitalizing effect of the energy absorption. The more energy I absorb, the more translucent the elemental becomes until, with a small smile, she disappears. Slowly, the scenic nature view fades from my senses, and I'm pulled back to the crumbling ruins of the temple and the curious faces of my friends. Amy and Liana hover by me as the Pongo looks up at me from the ground.
His pupil dilation is returning to normal.
Are you feeling okay? You completely zoned out there.
I nod. I still feel dazed as the remnants of tranquility begin to fade.
Did you see the Earth Elemental?
I did. This time, though, it felt different. When the energy was channeling into me at the Fire Temple, I felt a rush of passion and strength. This time, I felt more of a sense of peace and calmness.
I can confirm you did absorb a substantial quantity of energy. However, your mention of feeling emotions based on absorbing differing elemental energy is quite fascinating.
Yeah, I would bet.
It is something which has never been reported before, given that humans of Terra cannot absorb energy.
Right.
Once your senses have fully returned to normal, I would appreciate discussing in greater detail what exactly you experienced during the actual absorption of energy.
Fine by me. Sure, we can talk about it later. Where is Zack and Kara? As if on cue, the two of them appear, each holding bags filled with what I would assume is whatever loot could be found.
Don't mind us. We just went on a little all-you-can-grab treasure buffet.
Mm-hmm. She grins and opens her pouch to hand something to Amy.
Here, I found this.
She hands Amelia an ancient tome. Ooh.
I figured you might be interested in this sort of thing.
Amy carefully turns the pages of the book with great interest.
This is written in ancient Gaian script, a language of which I have studied, but of which I am not fluent.
You gonna finish? Alright. It will take me some time to translate it using my references, but the content should be most academic. She smiles at Kara.
Thank you.
Kara pats her on the head.
You're most welcome.
A rumble above interrupts us. We all tense up and go on high alert, but no rock slide occurs this time.
It looks like we got everything we need from here. Let's head out before another cave-in blocks our exit.
Yeah, that seems smart. We all agree, and still on high alert, make our way out of the temple as quickly as we can. Sometimes I like to think that Liana is just subtly using her wind magic to make everything bounce, you know? Like every time the game loads, like everyone kind of like comes back in. Anyway, we make it out of the temple and back into the forest. The sunlight shimmers through the trees, making me wince and blink. Liana lets out a deep, relieved breath.
We made it.
Yeah,
Now
okay,
that
there
we
we
have
go.
successfully made it through the temple, Let us not forget our purpose for coming here.
We look at Amelia with curiosity. She gestures to me.
His energy reading has increased substantially. Perhaps it is now possible for him to open a temporal rift.
It's not, though. You want to try that now? A grin spreads across Amelia's face.
Indeed.
Okay, she seems eager. This place is pretty barren, this place is pretty barren. I suppose we can try it here. Kara blinks.
Oh, you're doing that again.
She shuffles away, and away, and away, until she's behind a tree.
Keeping watch again?
You know it.
Zack creates a bit of distance too, but not as much as Kara. Liana and Amelia look at me.
Are you ready?
Kara's voice is far away.
Wait!
She races back, scoops up the Pongo, who gives a little squeak of protest, then sprints back to her tree. Finally, she gives a thumbs up.
Okay, good to go.
Thank you, Kara!
Alright, let's try it. Just do what you did last time, except now you can focus and channel your energy.
Right, yeah. Amelia, who is standing beside her, nods. I close my eyes and I try to focus on creating a rift. I bring up in my mind the images of what I saw when I first entered Terra. I inhale and exhale slowly as I try to draw in on that peace I felt when I met the Earth Elemental. I remember the scent of wildflowers, the fluttering of birds, and the creaking of trees. It fills me with a soft, gentle calm that spreads throughout the rest of my body. An odd, tranquil stillness fills my mind.
Keep going. Visualize your cast.
My brows furrow. I see a dark shape peeling away at the sky. And suddenly, a hot surge of energy flashes down my arm. There's a loud crack followed by a hiss. I open my eyes. A churning wind pours out of my manipulator and swirls about the dirt and grass. The trees groan and sway. I try to keep the wind stable, but it's just too strong. The muscles in my arms strain with effort. The wind whips about Liana's hair and clothes. My cast is more powerful than before, but still unrefined.
You are nervous and panicking. Ease your mind and calm yourself.
Right. Don't panic. Don't panic. My heart lurches. Anxiety coils in my stomach.
You may stop now.
I do as she says. The wind snarls and then smooths to a gentle breeze. The last bit of it skims through the grass and then vanishes, quick as a butterfly flutter. My arms dangle at my sides. They feel as if they're being pulled down by heavy weights. I take in deep breaths, my heart still pounding. I cringe and look up at the two. How did I do? Liana hesitates.
That was...
A failure.
Amelia!
I mean, it was. I didn't create a rift, but hey, I summoned magic. Amy blinks in surprise.
Is that not what you were going to say? He was unable to create the rift.
Yeah. Liana sighs and crosses her arms.
He did better than his first try. He actually cast something this time.
Yeah. Amelia blinks again.
I see. I suppose there was some improvement.
Supposed. Just remove the D. She taps her chin in thought.
I believe your magic training should involve bettering your accuracy and honing your focus.
That'd probably be good.
At this point, we are still unsure if the inability to create the rift is from your lack of energy or technique.
Right. I puff out a defeated sigh. It seems that I still have a long way to go.
Hey, where did Zack go?
Huh? I look up. Zack isn't anywhere in sight. That's weird. I glance around. Deep in the forest, I see a rustle of something black. I squint. Maybe it's Zack's trench coat. I zero in on it to see Zack and Kara peeking behind the same tree. Hey, when did you get all the way back there? Zack's voice is faint.
You couldn't control it. No way was I gonna stand there if you went splat. This coat is not easy to clean.
My jaw gives a little tweak. Thanks for the vote of confidence. Kara grins and claps her hands. She shouts for us to hear her.
You put on quite the show. Glad I wasn't there for it, though.
Liana frowns.
Okay, it's done now. Can you guys come back?
Wait, hold on, what was that? Can you guys come back? I thought I saw something weird. Anyway, Kara skips over. Zack follows with his arms crossed.
So, where to next?
according to Elderism's notes, Ellendale is the closest city located to where the ancient people worshipped the air elemental. I believe we will be able to uncover more information from the library there.
Yeah, just immediately moving on to the next temple. Kara smiles and ruffles Amy's hair.
Sounds great, Amy.
Amelia flushes. She coughs and then glances away.
Let us be on our way.
We hike out of the forest and find a new path. Amy leads us north and we begin traveling on foot for the rest of the day. My legs ache, and by the time the sun starts to disappear, I'm ready to collapse. Maybe I'm still feeling the effects from trying to cast earlier, but all of this walking is making me even more exhausted than usual. We keep walking until we find a good campsite. Liana says the large open space would be a good place for me to practice my wind magic in the morning. Amelia sparks a small campfire for us. Zach cooks up another delicious dinner, and by the time I'm done, I can barely keep my eyes open. The rest of the group is still up and talking, but as soon as I lay my head down, I tumble into a deep and fast sleep. Happy sleepy time music! Yay! Cool. So I'm going to click until there's background music, and we're gonna end this. Oh, we could just go straight in. And before I forget, we're gonna do a quick save here, just so you guys can see that I'm doing it and everything. There. So now I've saved. And now let's talk a little bit about this session. I don't think I have a terrible ton to say, but usually I don't think I have a terrible ton to say, and then I end up talking, so we'll see what happens. First, before I forget, I want to jump back to when we were dealing with Art and Hunt. First, hey, cool. I was right about the maybe he is the gay thing. So yeah, that was nice. Like, I'm glad that they're acknowledging that. I'm a little surprised that none of the characters acknowledged that as a possibility. Even after it happened, they're just like, whoa, Zach, how'd you do it? You must be a wizard. You know, it's just like that. None of them were possibly like, maybe he doesn't like breasts, kind of thing. And then, but then more than that, like just going to Amelia, this is apart from that now, but still in the same scene. Going back to Amelia, when I suggested her, like, one, I think it's kind of dumb that she's the only option and then they all yell at you and call you a creep for it and everything. You know, I get it when there were multiple options and you pick her and then they're like, really? That's gross, you know? I understand that, but don't let that be the only option and then make everyone act like you're a terrible person and, you know, suggested a terrible thing. Like, you can have her be the second to last and then have I'm out of ideas be the last one, because then at least you could have just selected that and moved on. But to have that be the only option and then for them to yell at you, I thought that was dumb. But I also wonder, because Amelia during that part, she said like, she basically said, I think you don't understand my age, or you don't know how old I am, or whatever, you know? I don't remember how she phrased it, but it was that. And you could think she was talking to me, but the next like descriptive line says, but it fell on deaf ears, you know? And I don't think that would be referring to my own ears. I think that means that she was trying to tell the others, like, guys, it's okay, I'm actually old enough, you know? But they just weren't listening. So I'm inclined at this point to think that despite her appearance, I think that Amelia is of legal age for the banging. To put it, you know, gently. So that's interesting. Like, I don't know how old anyone is in this story, but, I think there were assumptions at least that she was still like a young teenager, but maybe she is an old enough teenager. So that's the thing. Other things now. Yeah, definitely a lot of sexual tension in areas, just while we're still on the same kind of topic. A lot of sexual tension in areas, particularly between, you know, Zach and Kara, and between main character and Liana. And, you know, I don't necessarily love that. I mean, like, I'm enjoying the story as it's presented, but one of the things I really liked about Ace Academy was that you were able to choose. And I think that's a big thing for a lot of visual novels. And here, maybe I am still able to choose, but it seems like I'm not. You know? In fact, a lot of the choices that you have in this game seem like illusions of choice to me. Where sure, there are dialogue options, but it seems like if I picked one, they would be essentially the same thing, lead to the same result. And even when I pointed out, like, hey, it did come back, you know, when Liana saved me from the rocks falling in, and she referenced how I had saved her during the, when we were in the one town with the tax problems, you know? And sure, she brought that up, but would it have actually mattered that I did that? You know, or would it have, like, it changed the dialogue, sure. And I think there was another part too. that I might have explicitly mentioned. I don't remember. But still, like, it changed the dialogue a little bit, but did it actually change anything that would happen in the story? Not that that's necessarily a terrible thing, because at least they are acknowledging it within the dialogue. But, you know, if it doesn't actually add up to anything, if it doesn't amount to anything different, then it ultimately doesn't matter. It matters as far as the dialogue is part of the experience, and quite a big part of the experience in playing this game. But just ultimately doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it matters, but not really. That kind of thing. But like, as far as romance options are concerned, you know, if they do exist, but just like out of the girls, like my favorite is Kara for that. You know, I like her personality and everything. I think that it's fun. I think that I just enjoy it. I mean, I do like Liana and Amelia as well. But just as far as like, again, that kind of immediate attraction, like I would immediately lean toward Kara. Again, not for her manner of dress, but just because you know, I mean, I do like her physical appearance, but I don't mean like the skimpiness of her outfit. But I like that, and I like her personality and things like that. So that's what I would go for, you know? If this were more like Ace Academy, where I felt like I had more, you know, more of my own decision-making that mattered, you know what I mean? But it doesn't seem like that's the case here. Again, part of that is just the fact that you have to play for like a few hours, really. I mean, I think you play for a couple hours before Amelia is introduced, and then you play for like a couple more hours before Kara is introduced. So if they actually were like romanceable options, I feel like it's weird that they were introduced so late into the story, at least relatively speaking. And if the game doesn't go on for too much longer, it would just be weird to like have to rush through something like that. But I don't know how long this game is, and I think I've been playing now for like between 8 and 9 hours. I haven't been keeping a ton of track. I don't remember if I did 3-hour sessions before, or if I did 2-hour sessions before. This one I've been in this session for 3 hours and about 10 minutes now. So I at least know that. But yeah, it just seems like the introduction was late, and if the game were to end anytime soon, that it would be a little fast. However, we again have been playing this session for 3 hours. We ended the last session like right after the Earth Temple, and then we just finished, or sorry, right after the Fire Temple, and then we just finished the Earth Temple here. So if it's going to be about 3 hours between each temple, this could be a pretty sizable game. I mean, if we've already gone, let's say 8 hours to play it safe, and then we have, what, 3 more temples to do? That's like a 16 or 17 hour game, if it's fairly consistent, you know? So, interesting to think about that, because that would be longer than Ace Academy was, for instance. And I know, again, Pixel Fate Studio, they had issues with their funding. It was a fan-funded project, basically, or crowd-funded. And so they didn't have enough money to keep going with Ace Academy, and that's why they had to have their bullcrap ending that wasn't really an ending. You know how I feel about that, at least if you've seen my Ace Academy series. And if you haven't, go do it. Go do that. Go watch it. I'd recommend it. It was a good game. It's just terrible ending. But this one, they definitely seem to have the funding. Again, you can see that from the pictures and the animations and the length of the game, at least how it seems. Like, this would be pretty devastating, I think, if they ended it too early with how they've set it up so far. Like, I think it's pretty clear that we're gonna go to the temples and everything, and there's like a much deeper story, it seems like. I mean, then again, there seemed to be a deeper story in Ace Academy, and they kind of just threw that out the window. A lot left undone there. But here it seems like they're actually going to go through and like tie up those loose ends and things like that. I think we're actually going to see resolution in the plot, which is good. That's what you want. So I liked the Amelia scenes that we got to have, like being at the carnival with her and everything. I thought that was fun. It's nice to see that side of her. And I enjoyed, you know, seeing her at her parents and things like that. Basically, like, I do enjoy all of the characters, like this party that I'm traveling with. I do think they're fun. You know, even Zack and his broody nature, you know, he is amusing. And if he gets with Kara, you know, I hope they'll be happy together. You know, I'm a little jealous, I'll admit, but if they're happy, that's awesome, you know. Claps for them. Yeah, so I don't think there's a ton else to say. I mean, good for me for finally being able to use magic, and I actually did really like that scene. It can be fun, I think, in stories or anime or whatever, when you reach those moments where, like, characters just fight each other, you know? I like that. I mean, obviously, that in and of itself isn't just, like, it's not necessarily good. It doesn't make for a good story, but when done correctly, oh, I think those are really cool moments. And I think this was done correctly, you know? Like, my character, he's honestly being kind of a dick about it all. Like, just constantly complaining and everything. And Liana was trying really hard, and she was being really patient. And so I thought it was appropriate. I thought it worked out really well when she did attack main character. You know, good old Grestar. And I just enjoyed that scene. And obviously it worked out well, and, you know, afterwards she kind of dropped the act and apologized profusely and everything, and yeah, so I do appreciate her as a character too. Yeah, okay, I don't think I have anything else to say. I could ramble more, I'm sure, but I'll stop here for you guys. So let me know what you guys think about this game so far in the comments below. You know, whether you like it, whether you dislike it, what you think about this or that, etc., so on and so forth. And I will see you guys in the next recording session. So with that, we're calling it here. Cue outro, go!